Welcome to the Transparent FX Academy. In this video, I'll speak about USDJPY. And as usual, to keep the video as educational as possible, first, I'll cover the technical aspect for this market. Then we will be moving to the order flow by looking at the commitment of traders, so the COT data, which is essentially what the big players in the market are doing and how they're moving and shifting their orders, which is what you see right here. And by the end of the video, by using a combination of these two different types of analysis, we will try to understand where we have the highest probabilities for the next potential move here for this pair. So this is definitely a video you do not want to miss. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Starting here from the monthly time frame, what we can see is that we have a market which at the moment is rejecting to the upside a quite strong historical monthly demand and support zone. What we know, in fact, is that from here, all these previous rejections to the upside were created. Every single time that the market tested this zone, it rejected it to the upside. And if we extend this level to the left, we can see that actually it was already acting as strong demand and support starting from here. And we can notice this big, in this case, monthly wick created exactly at that demand and support zone. This means that when the market is reaching this zone, we are seeing strong institutional buying. And we will be speaking about the institutional positioning in just a few moments when we move to the commitment of traders analysis. But for now, let's keep in mind that we do have strong buying. At this level, the market has already tested the zone and is currently in the process of rejecting it to the upside once more. Let's drop down on the weekly time frame and see what we have. Now, from a weekly perspective, the situation is very interesting as well. We can notice a perfect inversion of trend, which is currently underway. The market, in fact, went from the creation of weekly lower lows and lower highs. So clearly it was in a bearish trend and we had a bearish market. Then we had this double bottom created exactly at this zone. And now for the first time, we had this break of structure. Now let's identify the break of structure. Well, to identify it, we can easily look at this zone here. We can see that this was the level that was previously acting as support from which this low was created. Then the market broke it to the downside. And what we know is that previous support, once it is broken to the downside, becomes resistance. So the market here tested this previous support and resistance and respected it as such. Then we had another test here of this resistance zone. And again, the market respected it as resistance. And only at the third test, the market managed to break above the zone. And again, as for the previous case, since previous support becomes resistance, previous resistance, once it is broken to the upside, becomes support. And that is exactly what happened here. We had the retest of this previous weekly resistance at this point turned support, and the market is currently rejecting that zone to the upside. So the weekly time frame as well is quite clear with this inversion of trend currently underway. Let's drop down on the daily time frame and see what we have. Now, from a daily perspective, I spoke about USDJPY just a few days ago when the market was around this zone. I explained all the reasons for which I was expecting the market to go here, test this zone, and then reject it to the upside. And in fact, we can see that that is exactly what the market just did. And by the way, I will link in description that previous analysis so you can go and check it out for more free education. But at the moment, what do we have? Well, before we dig deeper into what we have here from a technical perspective on USDJPY, first, let's go and see what we have when it comes to the commitment of traders. So what the big players and institutions are doing in the market. Now, if we're looking at the data for the JPY, we have to keep in mind that we are already looking at JPY USD because all currencies on the spot are already traded against the USD. So if you're looking at the JPY, you are already looking at JPY USD. And we can notice here how in the long term, we had a huge decrease in the net positions, We went from 179.2K all the way down to 106.6K net positions. So we had a clear decrease in net positioning in the long term, with shorts getting increased from 21.9K to 57.7K and longs getting decreased from an institutional perspective from 204K all the way down to 164K. So in the long run, clearly institutions are shorting the JPY by increasing their shorts and decreasing their longs. And this means that they are longing USDJPY because, again, as I said previously, all currencies on the spot are traded against the USD. So if institutions are shorting the JPY, they are longing USDJPY. So let's keep all of this in mind and move back to the chart. And by the way, if you still haven't, make sure that you join my free Telegram channel, which you find linked in description so you never miss new updates. Now back to the analysis. From a daily perspective, we have to notice that this is the area that currently has the strongest level of supply and resistance. This is the strongest barrier that the market is currently facing. This zone was already acting as previous supply and resistance, preceding all this rejection to the downside. Then again here, the market was stopped by this supply and resistance zone. We had a strong sell wall created at this area. Now the market is again testing the zone. There is a possibility that the market might break above the zone, fueled by this strong institutional buying. However, until the market will remain below this resistance, it could easily reject lower, because only a break above the resistance would make the previous resistance become support. So until the market will remain below resistance, it can easily reject lower. However, if the market manages to break above the resistance, that is where things get interesting, because after the break, on the retest of the previous resistance turn support, that is where there is good probability of seeing more institutional buying. At that point, further increasing the probabilities of a potential rejection to the upside away from the zone. So if the market will break and retest, what would I expect? Well, as usual, and as my students know very well, trading is reactive and not predictive. The monthly, weekly, and daily timeframes combined with the COT data, those are the best timeframes when it comes to the directional aspect of the market. However, when it comes to identifying early shifts in the trend of a market, the best timeframes for that are the intraday timeframes, so 4 hour and lower. Therefore, what I would expect is that if this market would shift from an intraday bearish to bullish market, I wouldn't be surprised to see a potential rejection to the upside away from this area for the market to complete this daily impulse correction and impulse pattern to the upside. That definitely wouldn't surprise me. Now, if you want to learn more, I really recommend that you go and check out my website, which is linked in the description, because what you see me share here on YouTube is actually just the tip of the iceberg. In fact, if you head over to the website in the description, you will have the possibility to join the best trading program on the planet. You will gain access to all the courses ranging from the very basics of charting all the way to the more advanced topics like building automated trading strategies using the MQL4 programming language, building portfolios of strategies using quantitative finance tools like the Quant Analyzer, and much more. You will have the possibility, in fact, to gain access to the trading station software with the Telegram notifications integration, one-on-one private mentoring directly with me, the COT data software, which often you see me use directly in my YouTube videos, on all my platforms actually. And if you scroll down, you will see that you also have the possibility to get the integration. So all my EAs, which you find here presented one by one directly on the website. And you also have the possibility to gain access to my live trading show. So I live stream of all the trades on my live account as they're opened, closed, trade, and obviously managed. And if you continue to scroll down, you will see that you have the possibility to join just after here the testimonials and gain automatically access with the email and password that you will create during the checkout process. So I really suggest that at least you go and check it out. The link is in the description and I will see you in it. If you enjoyed the video, make sure that you leave a like. Also, let me know in the comments below any new pairs that you would like me to cover in my next videos. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss new updates, and I will see you in my next video.